Mike, should the Cowboys offense try to do that? Slow down the game, keep Russell Wilson off the field?
Absolutely. That's ideal. You want to keep Russ on the sideline as much as you can and not let him go out there and make magic happen, because that's what he's going to do. And in order for the Cowboys to go out and score fast, they're going to have to be very effective in the run game. I think they're going to have to establish Zeke. I think Dak is going to have to pick up some first downs with his legs, extend plays, extend drives, and do everything he can to keep Russell Wilson on the sideline. I think time of possession is going to be a key in this game. They are going on the road, and it's not going to be an easy task, but I think they can build off the confidence from last week. I think they did some good things that they can go back and look at the film and say, okay, this is going to be the way we're going to attack the Seattle Seahawks defense, because they banged up as well in the back end. I think if you can control Jamal Adams in the secondary and keep an eye on him and what they're going to try to do scheme-wise, then they have a good chance of winning this football game. But I think time of possession is going to be key. I think scoring early is going to be key, and not putting themselves in a huge hole and a big deficit is going to be key. It's something I would think they'll learn from last week. It's not going to be that way every week in which you can come back and have a miraculous comeback week in and week out. It's just not going to play out that way, especially the way Russell Wilson is playing. So I think they got to come out, score early and often, and keep Russell on the sideline the best they can, because he's going to get his touches. You know, that's just going to happen.
Brandon.
7, come on, man. That sounds like a Nick Wright take. You got to do what they do best. I love Coach for saying this, because you have a guy on the other side that we can potentially say, if they were 2-0, he's having an MVP year. He just threw for 450 yards. He has 4 pass catchers that can easily dominate a game. Gallup, Lamb, Cooper, and his tight end Schultz. So if I am Coach, like, I'm doing exactly what he said he'll do. Like, just go out there and play our game. I'm not worrying about Russell Wilson, because at the end of the day, we know this game is going to be a shootout. We know both teams can't get to the quarterback. We know both teams are banged up on the back end. So I love Coach saying this. I don't like you going on with the Nick Wright take saying, oh, yeah, slow down Russell Wilson. No, you can't slow him down. It takes me to this moment in 2009. Coach Shanahan, when we were preparing for the Indianapolis Colts and Peyton Manning, it was the same thing. Look, we got to keep the ball out of this guy's hands. So offensively, we're going to change everything we're doing. Eddie Royal, you're on pace to have 91 catches. Brandon Marshall, you're on pace to have another 100-catch season. Jay Cutler, young stud. Tony Scheffler. We're going to put you guys on the shelf, and we're going to run the ball with Selvin Young. That's what he said we were going to do. And I couldn't believe he was saying that. And what ended up happening, we tried to run the ball, and Peyton Manning still threw it all over the place. Reggie Wayne goes for 100 yards over Champ Bailey. You got Marvin Harrison goes for 100 yards. Dallas Clark is making big plays on 3rd down. We couldn't stop him. We got routed. And I looked at Coach Shanahan after the game. I didn't say anything because he was the coach. But it would have been good if I could have said something to Coach, but I didn't do it back then. It was bad. I wanted to.
So, Brandon.
Go, Nick.
Despite the total unnecessary drive-bys on me there, you are 100% correct. This is the smartest thing Mike McCarthy has ever said in his coaching career, and it goes against what so many old-time coaches say and think. You know whose job it is to slow down Russell Wilson? The Cowboys' defense. You know what the Cowboys' offense job is? Score. Score as easily and as quickly and as often as possible. I've been skeptical over how much Mike McCarthy actually learned in his 72 hours at Pro Football Focus's headquarters, but this is something he clearly took from it, because this is a major sticking point in analytics versus old school football. This is is a bunt a good play in baseball, or the long 2 versus the 3 in basketball. This idea that an offense should slow itself down to help its defense, as opposed to do everything it can on any given play to gain the maximum amount of yards. That is the goal of the offense. Gain as many yards as possible on any given play. If you can score one play, 80-yard touchdowns every time, guess what? That's perfect. And work backwards from there. So I 1,000% agree with you, Brandon. I am impressed, Wilds, that McCarthy is saying this because so many old-time coaches say no, well, we got to keep Russ off the field. No, what you got to do is score points, Wilds. And so I am 1,000% with McCarthy. I'm 99% with Brandon, except for the 1% of his commentary that was just sniping me from the street for some unknown reason. Aside from that, we're all good. But Wilds, I agree with McCarthy.
All right. Okay, I'm the other way, Brandon. I enjoyed the Nick Wright drive-bys, but I'm gonna be with our buddy Mike Vick here, because if we show up on Monday, it's like, wow, who knows? Russell Wilson threw for 5 touchdowns because he was out there all the time having a circus. We'd be like, Mike Vick was right. So, Mike, I'll throw it back to you here. What actually do you have to do besides just like feeding Zeke the ball? Is there anything else you can do to sort of keep time of possession? Or are you just playing just a slow-down, run-oriented game?
No, it can't just be a run-oriented game. I think everybody's going to have to do their part. The same way Gallup and CeeDee Lamb and Cooper showed up last week, they're going to have to make some big plays, big catches, catches in the clutch, and help Dak out. I mean, obviously, to go out and want to score points fast and early, that's ideal, but how ideal is it when you have a Seattle Seahawks defense in front of you trying to slow you down? So that's easier said than done, and it could be psyche just to hype up his team, but you still got to go out and execute these plays and have a game plan, like I said, that's going to keep Russell on the sideline and put them ahead of on the scoreboard and keep them ahead of the chains.
And Brandon, isn't there something to like? I was just going to say, sort of building off that, there's something, we talk so much about situational football, maybe not specific situational, but based on who the team is, that you have to factor in. And I'm sure everyone wants to go out and get an 80-yard play every time down, but you have to, don't you have to bake in the fact that you're going up against a guy like Russell Wilson who could put points on the board every time that offense is out on the field?
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say, look, let me clarify this so everybody understand it. It comes down to situations. It comes down to matchups. And if this was a team that didn't have Dak Prescott, who couldn't throw for 450 yards like he did last week, 3 rushing touchdowns, 1 throwing touchdown, then I would say, yes, let's go with Mike Vick and Nick Wright, he came on my side. Let's go with Mike Vick and Kevin Wild's take on ball control. But when you look at this matchup, Jenna, this is an offense that's shown you that they can be explosive. They have all type of firepower. So if I'm them, I play into my strength and not my weakness and being the defensive side of the ball.
And with respect to our great friend, Coach Mangini, Jenna, you've been spending too much time with him. This idea of, well, we got to keep him off the field. You got to score points. Every time Russell Wilson's on the field, he can score. He can score from any spot on the field. It's not like, oh, well, Russell Wilson, they're backed up on their own 20.
But he can't score when he's not on the field.
Right,
but it's not about. But it's not about Russell.
It's about
but it's not about Russell. It's about Dak.
We'll score.
Right, which is why Dallas needs to do everything they can to score too. Everyone's going crazy. Folks, the idea is to outscore your opponent. That you would ever do anything other than on offense, try to score the most points as quickly as possible is insane. Unless final 5 minutes of a game, it's obviously different. Early in the game,
but Jenna was right. No, Jenna's right. Jenna's right. It's about situations. It's about matchups. Jenna's right. It's about situations and matchups.
You were almost
right. Like if they didn't have Dak,
again, Brandon.
Yeah, no, Nick. If they didn't have Dak, then it would be a different conversation. That's why I disagree with Mike. Mike's thinking is not wrong, because when we're sitting in those meetings and we have a Mike Vick on the other side, we have a Peyton Manning on the other side, you have a Mahomes on the other side, and you don't have a quarterback that can go head to head with them, you have to play ball control. You have to do it.
Sure, but they do.
But they got Dak.
Right, but they do.
Exactly.
Right.
Michael, quick, get the last word in before we go to break.
Wishful thinking. Wishful thinking about Mike McCarthy.
Exactly. Well, listen.
I like it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.